This is coffee number 5. I'm your host, Lara Schmoisman. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to coffee number 5. Today, oh my God, there's so much to do today, so much to talk about. And I love that we live in a world now that it's becoming global. And we have, before it was very limited to countries, but I was recently traveling and it's so refreshing to see new brands in other countries, but also it's great to see the brands that you feel comfortable with and that you know that is your best friend that you see there. And when we're talking about skincare, we're talking about like you really connect to your brand because that product needs to work for you. Otherwise, you just go and trash it. If something doesn't work for you, or for me, and I'm the first to say it, if I have a skincare or I buy a product that I don't see over time, you have to give it time. But if I don't see the results that I want, I'm not buying again. And that's
True.
why it's so important, brand loyalty. And today I brought someone that I wanted to connect for such a long time, and I'm so happy he's here. So Akshay Talati, did I say it right?
Perfect. It's
Okay,
correct.
well,
Yes.
welcome. Thank you so much. So you've been in the beauty industry for a long, long time. You were in Estee Lauder, Unilevel, L'Oreal, and now more recently Goop. That we're gonna talk about how was a jump from such a corporate jobs to a more entrepreneurial
Yeah.
marketplace, and that is not only for beauty, that it has a lot more to offer. But can you, and also you are the vice president of the board of Society of Cosmetic and Chemists, which
Yes.
is a mouthful, but also, I mean, it's so important. And now with the new MOCRA laws, it's so important to know how we manufacture our products.
Correct.
So welcome. And tell me a little bit, because I love to hear the backstories and I love to bring another fellow accent holder because it's
Yes.
lovely to talk to another people with an accent and a sexy accent. So I how did you come up to this country and to become a chemist and to have this incredible journey?
Yeah. So, thank you for the introduction. But like anybody who is in the cosmetic industry for many years, we did not study cosmetic chemistry. We did not anticipate going into cosmetics. So I started into pharmaceuticals. So I am third generation pharmacist in my family. My grandfather, my father, myself, and actually my son is also a pharmacist. So I come
Well,
from a
where are
pharmacy.
you from? Tell us that.
I'm from Mumbai. I'm from a Mumbai, India.
Does
So
the sexy accent come from Mumbai?
it's inborn. It's inborn. The accent is inborn, and I have tried 30 years, but it still carries on. It gives me my identity. So yeah, I my family had a small pharmaceutical business in India. That's how I ended into pharmaceuticals. Then I came over to US to learn further, go into further studies, and that's where I got into topical drugs. I started doing topical drugs like transdermal drug delivery. And then I started first, before the cosmetic industry, I started into a pharmaceutical industry making topical drugs like hydrocortisone, pain medications, Bengay, antibiotics. And then after playing around, I got my pharmacist license. I could practice pharmacy still. I still have a license, but my inclination was always towards innovation. I was always intrigued by creating something new, being on the bench, being as a chemist, coming up with some new ideas. And then I was living in New York and Estee Lauder was hiring. And that was the time when Estee Lauder was only 4 brands. So I joined Estee Lauder when it was 4 brands. I started in the Estee Lauder brand and then stayed on there for 22 years, building up brand by brand. And when I left Estee Lauder 22 years after, we grew from 4 brands to 38 brands. So,
This is so interesting because your background as a pharmacist and as a
yes.
chemist, being a pharmacist, you need to work with a lot of FDA approvals. And then coming to the beauty industry, then until recently, there were no regulations.
Correct. Yeah. So it's interesting, right? So I think the basics of pharmaceutical, being able to use pure molecules, being able to judge all the formulation properly in terms of performance, stability, that gave me an edge when I came into the cosmetics. Of course, the beauty about the cosmetic industry, so there's a plus and minuses, right? While you pharmaceuticals is good, there's little less innovation. You cannot play around with too many ingredients. You cannot use the flowers, the extracts, the botanicals, come up with new textures, because in pharmaceuticals your focus is one molecule or two molecules, and the aesthetics may not be that great, and it's more about the performance. In cosmetics now, it's not only about performance. On top of it, you have to have good sensory, you have to good scent, you have to use newness, you have to come up with some appealing packaging. It's a combination from everything to appeal to the consumers. So I think, and then you have to innovate. The life cycle of a product in cosmetics versus pharmaceuticals, it's much faster. You have to come up with innovation year after year, while in pharmaceutical you create one product, it could stay there for 14, 15 years in the market.
Yes. Yeah, and it's very interesting also because there is no regulations in the formulas. In pharmaceutical, when you create a product, you have a certain years that you are the only one who can produce it.
Correct. You have a new drug application, you own the market, and if you have to file a drug application. And well, but in the hindsight, also, like in cosmetics, if you look at cosmetics, some of the products that I created almost 27 years ago in Estee Lauder brand are still on the shelf. You were talking about longevity. I think if you create the product right, with the right texture, right value, right sensory, right performance, you can build longevity. I had created nutritious, resilience lift. I worked on advanced night repair. So many of those products still are on the shelf. Of course, marketing plays a big role in cosmetics, but the product also has to be right in terms of texture and performance.
So why to jump from corporate and work in a company like Goop?
Yeah, so again, I was with Estee Lauder, Unilever, and L'Oreal. I did the all three largest multinationals, corporate life. And I think what happened, there was a phase, transition phase, where I wanted to start thinking about something more entrepreneurial, more creative, more with an indie mindset, coming up with ideas and new. And when I saw this opportunity of Goop come up, I had two reasons to join the company. One, because of all my knowledge that I have, I wanted to bring something to Goop. And at the same time, I wanted to learn from Goop also. Gwyneth Paltrow, the founder, I report into her. I wanted to learn from her how she created her
Let's do the
journey.
gossip for a minute. Did you meet her?
I meet her, yeah, we text each other also.
That's amazing. And so this is what is really important to me. And that's what I want
Yeah,
to bring Gwyneth into the conversation, not because of the gossip, of course, but because of the entrepreneurial mindset that,
yes.
yeah, she was very clear of what she wanted for her brand.
Perfect. Yes, she knew what she wanted. She stayed through her mission. She started the company 15 years ago. Actually, this was a 15-year anniversary. She started it as just an editorial blog, newsletter. Then she slowly changed into a bigger newsletter. Now she has travel. She has food. We started Goop Kitchen last year. We are going into possibly Goop Hotel. We have Goop Beauty. We also have Goop Home. And at the same time, we not only sell Goop products, but we also have multi-branded products that we sell on Goop. So it's like a true omni-channel platform. And her vision is big to bring Goop to all the markets. And if you see recently, just 1 month ago, we launched Goop into mass market Target also. So we created a new brand. That was one of my big
Yeah.
projects over the last 2 years to create a brand for Target. So an accessible clean beauty line for Target as well. So her vision is very clear. She wants to bring awareness. Her philosophy, well, her philosophy is mainly about wellness, bringing the merger of wellness and beauty and wellness together and bringing it to everyone.
And this is something that I love about Goop, the clear vision that they had from the beginning, and how, and I think maybe because she started so slow, small as a blog, and then
Yeah,
she was able to carry through her values. And this
yeah,
is something that I actually we discussed it in last weekend's episode as well with someone specializing in branding, but and I see this with a lot of Indian brands that they try to fit everywhere. And just in order to fit everywhere, they can keep changing their story and their values. And my message to these brands that is, it's okay not to fit everyone. It's okay,
Yeah.
but it's so much more important to be keep true to yourself than trying to change who you are just to fit in these retail channels.
Yeah, and I think that is the beauty about indie brands, right? When you have an entrepreneur driven and a founder driven brand, you go much faster. You, in order to penetrate a saturated market, it almost forces these smaller brands to think outside the box. We bring innovation. And if you really look at it, the multinationals, the L'Oreal, the Unilevers, the Shiseidos, guess what? They are acquiring all the smaller brands because they cannot create the innovation, they buy the innovation. If you take the example of L'Oreal, the original L'Oreal brand is only one. They are 48 brands, all 47 brands are acquisition, and all those 47 brands were at one time indie brands. So like if you look at it Cosmetics, NYX, Urban Decay, all of these were startup brands, and then they acquired them.
And
Just today we
but this
Yeah.
is another issue that I'm seeing out there, and tell me if
Yeah.
I'm wrong, because now you're seeing it from the other point of view as an indie brand or a smaller
Yes.
brand, that there are a lot of smaller brands that they come to market with the idea of one day to be acquired.
Almost everyone, almost every indie brand wants to either get acquired or grow by themselves into a Sephora or an Ulta or go public, right? So that is the vision. You slowly scale, go to 10 million, 50 million, 100 million,
I love that word that you just said there. Slowly, slowly.
slowly scale.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's really hard. If you will overnight to be a success, I would be like really scary.
Yeah, and you know what the thing is, we only hear about the brands that are successful, the indie brands,
Mhm.
but there are so many indie brands who do not see success also. There are 20,000 brands launched each year, and you see only like the 5, 10 brands, the celebrity brands or the big brands, K18, ELF, and all that do success. But there are small brands which are they are launched and then they slowly fade off also.
So, if you're a smaller brand, let, what do you, first of all, let's, because I always, when we talk about products, we talk about those products that you want to call the legacy products, that they're going to be growing into generations and generations, and people will be talking about. What's the key ingredient to create those products that they're going to last and they're not going to be fads?
Yeah, so I think there's not one. I would say it falls in about six key ingredients you need. First is good sensory. The product has to have good sensory. Um, Performance, the product has to work because you can push branding, but you know what? If you push branding, people can buy it once, but they will not buy second. So you
I,
need the sensory and
Yes, and
performance.
in this time of that everyone has an opinion, and now everyone has a channel to give an opinion. Many years ago, people, well, they don't like it, they
Yeah,
trash it, and they don't use it again, but they didn't
yeah,
have a way to give you a review. Now everything is about social proof.
yeah, yeah. Then I think the third one is value. It has to be good value, right? You have to be rightly priced, right, for the performance, efficacy, and all that. The package should be simple and convenient. What is the value, performance, package, convenience? It should be convenient for people to use it. I think so. If you combine all of this together, then it brings the product to life. And the one of the newer key thing is nowadays people's patience is less.
Oh yeah.
Almost everybody wants that Tylenol effect. They want to apply the product and they want to see some immediate change. So if your product gives you an immediate sensory effect, some transformation, some color change, some fragrance, beautiful fragrance, it always adds a benefit, like a soft focus effect or a immediate blurring, immediate redness, cooling, heating. It always helps to give that instant messaging to the consumer because consumer wants something. And even if you look on Instagram and TikTok, people apply the product and within 5 minutes they say they like it or they don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah,
They do not
they
have the
want it, they
patience.
find restriction, but also that can give you in a lot of returns. That as a small brand, you need to be very careful.
Yeah, so again, I just the long term performance should be there. Obviously you need
Yeah.
to have that, of course. And the branding, the last one, the sixth one, I forgot before, was the branding and messaging. Nowadays it's even more important for the brand to connect to the consumer. It could be a message about the founder, it could be about social messaging, it could be about environmental messaging, it could be giving back to the community. There should be a message that the consumers can relate to the brand.
So when you started, I mean, you started in these huge companies and they work a lot of ahead of time. So what's
Yes.
the lifetime of the project for you? Where does it start? It starts from research, it starts from trending or for forecasting. Where does it come, the idea of the new line or the new product that you're going to be working on?
Yeah, so usually, so I'm thinking now about like the larger companies, right? So the larger companies, the ideas come from multiple sources. Of course, consumer insights is one of them. So if you know there is a trend out there, there is a pain point. The biggest innovations are those that solve a problem, that make somebody's life easier, that makes somebody a dirty job easier. So the biggest innovations are something that changes people's lives, the big dramatic. And the breakthrough innovation does not come every 1 year, 2 years. They happen once in 10 years. And the funny thing is, when you try to look for breakthrough innovation, you cannot find them. And usually the breakthrough innovation happens from outside of the industry. So, but usually when you do from a corporate side, so you look at consumer insight, then in the larger corporations, you also have an advanced research group that come up with the technology and ideas which are 5 years out, 10 years out, and then you merge that into the brand lab. So if there's a new molecule, how can you take that molecule and make it brand relevant? So if I'm working for a brand like Clinique, Kiehl's, how can I make it relevant? The third is obviously trends. There is trends out there that there is mushroom is popular or niacinamide is popular. The only hard part is like for the trends is if you're trying to follow a trend and you launch the product 2 years later, you are already behind the trend.
Yeah.
So you have to find the trend before it becomes a trend. So and that's where you
Yeah,
have to
find
really
it when they're starting and then grow with the trend. But
or or create the trend
oh, create the trend. That's
or
even
create the
better.
trend.
But
Yeah.
the question is like working in such a big corporations. I mean, you have the ability of creating a product really fast, but also I understand the process might be too much longer too because you have so many stakeholders.
It's actually longer in the larger companies because the like you said, there's too many stakeholders, too many internal processes, too many decision makers. The volume of the product is larger, so it takes a little bit longer time. The processes, you have to go from one stage to other. Not that the indie brands are not doing the same thing, but the indie brand, the decision makes goes faster. So example, in indie brand, if I have to launch a product, I just go walk over to my boss's cabinet. Hey, we want to do this. They make a decision, and yes, you are going right. While in a corporate, you have to go through layers and layers.
Yeah, but let's talk a little bit about the process of creating a product because
Yeah,
I think this is what, let's be honest, a
yeah,
lot of companies or individuals get into the beauty business in even if they need to put an investment up front because of the margins. But they don't know what is entitled in the process, entitles the process of creating a brand, creating a brand that it would work. So when you start, what are the premises that you need to create as a chemist a product?
right. Um, so when you basically create a product, I think the first thing is to come up with the concept. So what is the concept? What is the problem you are trying to solve?
Let's give it an example.
Yeah,
Let's go.
yeah.
Let's talk about preteens that they starting to have acne.
Okay.
So I come to you and I'm corporate or I'm an indie brand. I tell you I have my brilliant concept here is for
Yes.
preteens that they're starting to have hormonal changes and we want to prepare their skin for acne and to reduce the acne. So
Right.
that's my problem.
Yeah. So let's say acne, right? So the first thing is if that's the concept, so first thing you do is you decide what is the product form, whether you're going to do serum, lotion, and all that. So once the product form is decided, then
Okay, again, is we're gonna need, when you create a product, you want to create a line or you want to create just a product?
again, if it's acne, ideally it depends on the portfolio of the product. But if it's acne, I would ideally do three products, right? So because you will do a serum, a moisturizer, and a cleanser, so you can do a full regimen because they go almost in a synergy together. So you come up with the concept of the three products; they work well together. So and then if you go into acne, right? So then you research why does acne happen to preteens? Oily skin, pollution, clogged pores, um, too much secretion of oil glands, lack of exfoliation, hormonal changes. So once you have identified the pattern of what is the outlier, then you come up with the ingredients to add. Okay, let's say exfoliation, you need to add salicylic acid or benzoyl peroxide to make it in the drug OTC category. We need to add an ingredient to reduce the oil secretion. So you add 5-alpha reductase inhibitor, which reduces the oil secretion. Then you want to also have to moisturize the product. So you have to add moisturizer, but it is good for oily skin. And then pore control. You want to also add ingredient for the pores. Usually the people with acne, they may have the pores enlarged. So you want to add something for pores. And then the last one is inflammation. With most of the people with acne, they have inflammation of the sebaceous gland. So you want to add something for inflammation and something to also reduce the bacteria. So you will add those ingredients. Now we have come up with, let's say, 5-6 ingredients. You want to put it in a base. Then you design a base that you feel, is it a daytime application, nighttime application? So you put it in the product, come up with the design.
Yeah, I have a question here because
Yes.
everything that you were telling us is great products, great ingredients, but how do you make your product different from the other products in the market? How you
Yeah.
differentiate?
So again, in this particular case, right, acne, so you have to then see what's the competition out there, what is new research. So the newest research in acne is how to change the microbiome of the skin. So you come up with, you look at research, what new ingredients are there with the supplier, or can you come up with a new combination yourself? Is there a patented technology out there that you want to use? So example for me, if I was to create a new acne product, I would come up with something which changes the microbiome of the skin to make it lesser acne prone, so to make that type of a product.
Because this
And
comes from the marketer in me. How can I market a product that is going to be,
yes,
I can create
yes,
a wonderful branding and I can really use that as a marketing
yes,
tool. But at the end of the day, if the product is not at par and different of what is out
yeah.
there, it's really hard for me to market.
Yeah, so again, so that microbiome. The other thing is you can tap into certain cultures, right? Is there certain cultures that have certain ingredients in used in their ethnicity? Like, is there something used in China, India, Korea, and you bring up that technology to make that unique point of difference in the product. And sometimes it's synergy. Uh, should you use retinol in acne products, things like that? So I think you come up with newness based on the brand philosophy also. So if it's a natural, clean beauty brand, you come up with certain ingredients.
I really love that you said that because
Yeah,
again, my friends, we're going back to the deck and how important is to have the brand and keep true to your brand and
right.
not to, even if something that you think that is going to be trending, if it doesn't align with your brand, you're diluting your brand and your brand is not going to be your brand anymore.
Yeah, it's absolutely like if it's a dermatology brand, like a brand like CeraVe Clinique, then you have to look at dermatological type ingredients which resonates with dermatologists. If it's a natural type of brand, then you have to use ingredients like witch hazel, centella asiatica, which more align with that consumer.
Okay,
Performance you can
I,
get from both.
I want to be a myth buster for a second.
Yes, yes,
Because there are pretty words that are being put out there for fellow marketers too.
yes.
That there, for example, there are a lot of brands. I just blank here. There are a lot of brands that we call them that they could be medical doctor recommended, that's a marketing tool. Doesn't mean the ingredients are going to be any different from any other brand, because in order to have different ingredients, you need to be FDA approval, and then you're going to be
OTC.
a medical grade. What is exactly medical grade?
Yeah. So
Makes
again,
it
it's
any difference?
branding, right? So let's say there's a molecule and it is highly purified, or it's also used in certain pharmaceutical products, and it is purified to the pharmaceutical grade. The marketers may use a term like, oh, with medical grade XYZ ingredient, or with medical grade technology and all that. Again, it's something to elevate the brand as a buzzword.
But
Um,
it doesn't mean that it's a better product than one that it would not call it
no, but
medical
again,
grade.
it's all psychology and perception, right? So if that makes a difference for the consumer to use it more, maybe then it's relevant, right? So if by reading that the consumers thinks it is working for, it's like a placebo effect.
Also, it comes with a price tag many times. They use it as a
Price tag and not always truthful marketing,
yes.
but but it exists everywhere. People will say, I have X% natural, my formula is more sustainable. I think it's the name of the game right now, because everybody's trying to penetrate a saturated market. So what can they say different than the others? So
Yeah. I love, because you're saying all my keywords, my favorite words lately.
yeah,
Like, you're talking about sustainability right now, and they're really claiming, a lot of brands, that sustainability is using certain kind of packaging, certain kind of materials. But at the end of the day, there are many other ways of being sustainable. It's not only the products that you use. It's like, for example, how you ship products or how you storage products. And I feel like
yeah.
there are a lot of uh, part of being sustainable that I maybe it's me, but I prefer to be a lot more conscious of the quantity that I create in a product that I'm gonna be selling, and then I don't have to trash product,
Yeah.
than maybe in a packaging that also is gonna be a lot more expensive than using other packaging.
Yeah, and again, like you said, there's a lot of myths in sustainability also. Sustainability is no longer a buzzword now. It's almost like a necessity that every brand will have to have a sustainability message. Um, if you look at it, like the all the sales of the products that are happening, there's a spike with products that are making sustainability messaging. But the sustainability can be, like you said, manufacturing, transport, packaging, cartons, ingredients. It's so many things, right? And
Yeah.
I think there's also a myth that natural means it's more sustainable. It's not true. Sometimes a natural ingredient may take 10 steps to make it purified, and you actually use more resources. And sometimes actually synthetic is more sustainable because you use lesser resources to make a synthetic molecule. And that's why I am always of the proponent that use synthetic for performance when it's easy, simpler, pure molecule, instead of wiping out an entire plantation of plants to get 1 gram of molecule.
Exactly. It's the same with transportation. So maybe in order to meet the MOQ of quantities, you have something that is not completely biodegradable, but
Yeah,
you have something, but you're not shipping it in certain way. There are so many things that you need to see in the big picture when you're creating a
yeah.
product, where it's going to come from. And also cost is important at the end of the day, because this is a business and it needs to be profitable.
Cause the whether your package is it glass, plastic, actually aluminum packages which existed 30 years ago is coming back. People are now
Yeah.
moving back to aluminum packaging. So, but
Which are,
again, it
by the way, they're very hard to produce, the aluminum.
yeah. So again, while aluminum is recyclable, it is more sustainable, but I guess the processing, you have to also see the back end processing. How much effort does actually go into production of aluminum packaging?
Exactly, or shipping, because it's
So,
not easy to find somewhere that they're gonna go do a good and
yeah.
price efficient aluminum packaging.
Yeah, but again, if you look at the pharmaceutical industry, always uses aluminum packaging. It is more better for the formula stability.
Yes.
It is more user friendly. The only problem is that it's not going to be that attractive, because now you cannot make very different variations.
Exactly, but also there again different when you have a new formula, a new package in the pharmaceutical unit, you know that they're going from the big quantities because this is gonna
Yeah,
be your
yeah,
yours and nobody can compete. In the
yeah,
beauty industry, you are really the orders you're gonna receive as for a new brand, unless that you have a huge production like L'Oreal,
yeah,
you are gonna be having your orders are gonna be and this smaller, well, at the beginning are going to be smaller, and your
yeah.
product still has a shelf life.
Yeah, yeah, shelf life, and I think, and also again in the pharmaceutical industry, the people are buying the product not for the like the looks on the package. They
Uh-huh.
go to a pharmacy and they want the treatment done within 3 4 days. They want the wound or whatever the eczema to go away. They're not focused on the package. Here in beauty industry, it's the complete package of the experience. So the elegance of the package plays a big role also.
Absolutely. So, new year, new you, new year is huge for the beauty industry. Everyone trying to make it a new year resolution of looking their best. Many of us say we're gonna start exercising more. We're gonna be better to our body, and skincare is one of those. So, what are the trends for this coming year?
So I think one of the biggest trend that you're going to see is, again, because I have been in the industry a long time. So the superficial trends that you will see will be more of fermentation, biotechnology, um, more natural, more sustainable, more upcycling, microbiome. So these will always be there.
I
But I
see
think
a lot microbiome. I think it was kind of the 2023 theme that
it's
I
still there. It still will
still
be
they
there.
are. Okay,
It's still
but
there.
2022, for example, for me, I never seen in a year so many serums coming out.
Yeah. Serum is still the, I think in the product wise you will see. So if you now, so I gave you the top line, right? That always will be there. But I think the now if you go one layer down, I think people are going to go towards simplicity. The formulas will be going towards targeted delivery, simpler formulas, more focused. The percentage game still will be there. Unfortunately, people will still try to give the numbers game. Oh, I have X percentage. Unfortunately, um, but one of the big trends that you will see, not it's already started, is that over the last 10 20 years, chemistry was driving the technology, chemistry was driving biology, but now you will see that biology is going to drive chemistry. Biology will come to the forefront in coming up with new ideas and new technology, and the reason being that there are 8 billion people on the planet. There is no way that the beauty industry can come up with resourceful and sustainable solutions for these people, right? So you will see a lot of biotech come up front, uh, sustainable, cleaner ways of making materials in the lab. So you will see more bioengineered lab grown materials that are going to come up which are more efficient, and it's already started. And it's with a lot of precision. You are like example one, I already saw retinol. So retinol has been a synthetic molecule. I already saw one company come up with a fermented retinol source. So you will see more and more of that.
And I have and something else I've been seeing is that there's starting to be some crossovers into the beauty and cosmetic industry. Do you see that as well?
Beauty and wellness.
Yes.
Yeah, so again, that's the new messaging. You will see that the merger of wellness and beauty, it will merge wellness and beauty. So meditation, yoga, wellness, calming, feeling good, neurocosmetics, so mind and body. You will see a lot of functional fragrances which give you balance, so
More
function.
therapy.
Aura, Ayurveda, all of that, the mind and wellness, because that is the new trend. Because people have exploited naturals, people have exploited antioxidant, people have exploited all these dermatological ingredients. So now what's next? So there will be a merger of wellness, like a total holistic beauty.
Yeah, I agree with you. I really agree with you. That's what
Yeah.
I'm seeing too. And I maybe we should have another conversation at the end of the year again and see if we were right.
Yeah, I mean, it's already happening. Like even a lot of brands are already pushing the messages of climate beauty, eco-conscious beauty, personal beauty. There's one more thing is like if you look at that again, you see the trend will already happening. Most of the Gen X and Gen Z have grown up in the app world. Their time has always been on the computer, TikTok, Instagram. They are losing the human connection. So what will happen is the cosmetic brands will almost now promote human mingling. They will promote interaction between humans instead of just marketing online their product. You will see the shift. They will almost want the consumers coming back to the stores.
And honestly, as a mother of a Z gens, I love it.
Yeah. You will see the shift.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I was such a good time talking to you. I really love it, and I could keep talking to you forever. But I have the philosophy that podcasts they should be short and a car ride. I always say
Yes.
that my car, I mean, everyone who ever drove in Los Angeles knows that everything, at least it's 30 minutes, even going very close by. So I can listen to my podcast, and if I didn't finish, I can stay a few minutes later and keep listening in my parking lot. But let's do this again and another time, maybe by the end of the year or next year, and we'll see how this year came up with the trends and what we can say. What did we see new?
Great. Thank you, Lara. This was enjoyable and there's so much to talk. Like it's like I didn't even realize the time went so fast.
I know,
Thank
me
you so
neither.
much. Yeah.
Thank you, and to you guys. I will see you next week with more coffee.
Find everything you need at laraschmoisman.com or in the episode notes right below. Don't forget to subscribe.
It was so good to have you here today. See you next time. Catch you on the flip side. Ciao, ciao.